Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Or blanked on someone's name mid-conversation and wondered if it's just stress? Or the first signs of something more serious like dementia? You're not alone. In this video, we're going to go over 10 vitamins and supplements with the strongest scientific evidence for protecting your brain, supporting memory, and helping to lower your long-term risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. We'll break down what each one does inside your brain, how deficiency shows up, and what foods or supplement forms make sense for you, depending on age, diet, and lifestyle. And as always, you'll get clear, practical examples of what to eat and what to avoid so you're not wasting money on pills that don't work. Before we start, remember this: your brain is the hungriest organ in your body. It burns about 20% of all the energy you use every day. So if you feed it poorly, memory, focus, and mood are the first to go. But if you nourish it right, it can literally grow new connections even as you age. Let's dive in. When it comes to nutrients that protect the brain, the B vitamin family always comes first. These vitamins act like spark plugs for your neurons. Without them, the brain can't make energy, repair itself, or communicate properly. One of the biggest reasons B vitamins matter is something called homocysteine. Homocysteine is a toxic amino acid that builds up when your body can't recycle proteins efficiently. High levels of homocysteine literally damage blood vessels in the brain and make your neurons more vulnerable to degeneration. Vitamins B6, B12, and folate, also known as B9, are the main detox team that clears homocysteine out of your system. When these three are low, homocysteine rises, and that's been directly linked to memory loss, brain shrinkage, and dementia. Now here's the tricky part. As we age, our ability to absorb and activate B vitamins drops dramatically. Stomach acid production declines, some medications block absorption, and a common genetic variant called MTHFR reduces your ability to turn folic acid into its usable form. That's why people over 50, vegetarians, vegans, or anyone taking acid-blocking drugs are much more likely to be deficient. The best food sources of B vitamins include leafy greens, beans, lentils, eggs, fish, liver, and nutritional yeast. You'll notice that processed foods, refined grains, and sugary snacks are basically stripped of these nutrients. So even if you eat plenty of calories, you can still be running on empty when it comes to brain nutrition. If your energy, focus, or mood have been off lately, the B vitamin complex is one of the first places to look. Vitamin B12 is one of the most crucial nutrients for your brain and nervous system. It helps build and maintain the myelin sheath, the fatty coating that protects nerve fibers and allows signals to travel quickly and smoothly. When B12 levels drop, that protective layer starts breaking down, leading to slower thinking, tingling in the hands and feet, fatigue, and memory problems. Deficiency is especially common in older adults because B12 from food needs stomach acid and a protein called intrinsic factor to be absorbed. If you take antacids, proton pump inhibitors, or metformin, your absorption can be even worse. Vegans and vegetarians are also at risk because B12 is found naturally only in animal products like fish, eggs, meat, and dairy. If you've been feeling low energy, mentally foggy, or depressed, and especially if you're over 50, it's worth checking your blood B12 levels. Don't just guess. For supplements, look for methylcobalamin or adenosylcobalamin rather than the cheaper cyanocobalamin form. These are the active forms your brain can actually use. Injections or sublingual tablets can help bypass absorption issues if your stomach isn't doing the job. Remember, restoring B12 isn't just about energy today. It's about protecting your brain cells for the decades ahead. Folate, or vitamin B9, works hand in hand with B12 to build DNA, repair cells, and support methylation, the process your body uses to turn genes on and off and keep your brain chemistry balanced. Natural folate comes from foods like spinach, asparagus, lentils, avocados, and citrus fruits. The problem is that many supplements and fortified foods use a synthetic version called folic acid. It sounds the same, but your body has to convert folic acid into the active form called methylfolate before it can do its job. Here's where things get complicated. Around 40% of people have a genetic variation that slows this conversion down, which means folic acid can build up in the bloodstream without actually working in your cells. High folic acid levels can also mask a B12 deficiency, letting nerve damage progress quietly. That's why when choosing a supplement, it's better to look for methylfolate or 5-MTHF instead of plain folic acid. You'll get the active form directly and your brain will thank you. Folate is one of the few vitamins where more isn't always better. Balance is key. Aim for a steady intake from leafy greens and legumes every day rather than megadoses from pills. Vitamin B6 is essential for making neurotransmitters, the brain chemicals that control mood, sleep, and memory. Without enough B6, your body struggles to produce serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, which can leave you feeling anxious, irritable, or mentally drained. 6B also plays a major role in regulating homocysteine levels, the same compound we talked about earlier that damages brain tissue when it gets too high. So having enough B6 not only supports emotional balance, but also helps protect your neurons from long-term damage. You'll find B6 in foods like chickpeas, bananas, potatoes, poultry, and fish. It's also present in some nuts and seeds. Because it's water-soluble, your body doesn't store much of it, so you need a steady supply from your diet. It's important not to overdo B6 supplements. Very high doses taken for months can actually cause nerve irritation and numbness, the very symptoms people sometimes take it to fix. For most adults, a small daily amount in a B complex or multivitamin is plenty. When your B6 levels are right, you'll notice calmer nerves, steadier energy, and better sleep quality, all of which your brain depends on. Vitamin B1, or thiamine, is one of the first vitamins ever discovered, and it's absolutely vital for brain energy. Every nerve cell in your body uses thiamine to convert glucose into fuel. Without it, your neurons literally starve, even if you're eating plenty of food. Severe deficiency leads to a disease called beriberi, which was once common when people ate mostly polished white rice. There's also a neurological version known as Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome that often appears in people who drink heavily or have poor diets. It causes confusion, memory loss, and difficulty with coordination. Clear signs that the brain is running out of energy. Even mild thiamine deficiency can show up as brain fog, fatigue, or irritability. It's more common in people who eat lots of refined carbs and sugar because processing those foods burns through your thiamine stores. Good food sources include whole grains, nuts, seeds, pork, and legumes. If you drink alcohol regularly or have digestive issues, a B-complex supplement with thiamine can make a noticeable difference in your mental clarity and focus. Your brain runs on electricity and chemistry, and thiamine is what keeps the power on. Vitamin B3, also known as niacin, is another major player in brain energy and repair. Inside your cells, niacin turns into coenzymes called NAD and NADP, which drive hundreds of chemical reactions that keep your neurons alive and functioning. Without enough niacin, your brain can't make energy, detoxify waste, or repair DNA efficiently. A severe niacin deficiency causes pellagra, a disease that once devastated entire communities living on corn-based diets. Its classic symptoms are called the 3 Ds: dermatitis, diarrhea, and dementia. Thankfully, pellagra is rare today, but mild deficiency is still common, especially in people who rely on processed foods. Niacin is found in meats, fish, poultry, peanuts, and whole grains. Your body can also make small amounts from tryptophan, an amino acid found in protein foods, but not enough to rely on. You may have heard of NAD boosters, popular supplements that aim to raise cellular energy and slow aging. These are all niacin-based compounds, but more isn't always better. High-dose niacin can cause flushing, liver stress, and blood sugar changes, so it's best to get most of your B3 from food and use supplements carefully. When your niacin levels are steady, you'll have better mental endurance, sharper concentration, and a brain that recovers faster from stress. Vitamin D isn't just for your bones. It's a powerful neuroprotective hormone that your brain depends on. Every region of the brain has vitamin D receptors, and they're involved in regulating mood, protecting neurons from inflammation, and even helping you form new memories. Low vitamin D has been linked to depression, slower thinking, and a higher risk of Alzheimer's disease. One reason is that it helps control calcium balance inside brain cells. Without it, calcium builds up where it shouldn't, leading to cell stress and damage over time. Your skin makes vitamin D when sunlight hits it, but that process gets less efficient with age, darker skin tones, sunscreen use, or limited outdoor time. People who live far from the equator often need extra help, especially during winter. Here's something many people don't realize. Your body can't properly activate vitamin D without enough magnesium. So if you're taking vitamin D supplements but still feel tired or moody, you may be low on magnesium too. Before supplementing, it's smart to get your blood levels checked. Ideally, you want to be in the middle of the optimal range, not too low or too high. Both extremes can cause problems. Food sources include fatty fish like salmon and sardines, egg yolks, and fortified dairy or plant milks. But for most people, a combination of sunlight and moderate supplementation works best. Think of vitamin D as the brain's solar power. It lights everything up when it's in balance. Vitamin E is one of your brain's main fat-soluble antioxidants. Because your brain is made mostly of fat, it's extremely vulnerable to oxidation, a kind of rusting process that damages cell membranes and accelerates aging. Vitamin E protects those delicate fats, keeping your neurons flexible and your communication pathways smooth. It's actually a family of 8 compounds called tocopherols and tocotrienols. Most supplements only contain one type, alpha-tocopherol, but in nature these compounds work together. That's why whole food sources like almonds, sunflower seeds, hazelnuts, avocados, and olive oil are the safest and most effective ways to get your vitamin E. Deficiency can lead to nerve problems, muscle weakness, and impaired balance, though it's rare. On the other hand, taking very high doses of synthetic vitamin E for long periods has been linked to increased bleeding risk and, in some studies, higher mortality. More is not always better. If you do take a supplement, look for mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols from natural sources rather than the synthetic DL-alpha tocopherol form. Vitamin E works best when your diet also provides enough vitamin C and healthy fats, since they all help regenerate each other in the body's antioxidant network. In short, think of vitamin E as the brain's shield. It keeps your neurons from burning out under stress. Vitamin K is best known for helping blood clot properly, but it also plays a crucial role in brain structure and function. Inside the brain, vitamin K helps produce a special type of fat called sphingolipid, which is essential for building and maintaining the myelin sheath, the protective coating around nerve fibers that keeps signals running smoothly. Research shows that people with higher vitamin K intake tend to have better memory and cognitive performance, especially as they age. One reason is that it also helps regulate calcium, preventing it from depositing in blood vessels and brain tissue where it doesn't belong. There are 2 main forms of vitamin K. K1, found mostly in leafy greens like spinach, kale, and parsley, and K2, which comes from fermented foods like natto, cheese, and some animal products. Both are valuable, but K2 appears to have a stronger role in supporting brain and heart health. Vitamin K works hand in hand with vitamin D. D helps you absorb calcium, and K makes sure that calcium ends up in your bones, not your arteries or brain. Because it's fat-soluble, vitamin K absorbs best when eaten with a bit of healthy fat like olive oil or avocado. So when you build your plate, think of dark leafy greens as not just salad, they're brain armor. Vitamin C might be famous for immune support, but your brain actually contains some of the highest concentrations of it anywhere in the body. It acts as a powerful antioxidant, protecting neurons from free radical damage and helping them communicate effectively. Vitamin C is also required to make collagen, which keeps your brain's blood vessels strong and flexible. That's important because healthy circulation means better oxygen and nutrient delivery to your brain cells. Another lesser-known role of vitamin C is in neurotransmitter production. It helps convert dopamine into norepinephrine, a chemical that keeps you alert and focused. Low levels of vitamin C have been linked to fatigue, poor concentration, and even slower thinking in older adults. Since it's water-soluble, your body doesn't store vitamin C, so you need a fresh supply every day. The best sources are fruits and vegetables like oranges, kiwis, strawberries, bell peppers, broccoli, and leafy greens. Supplementation can help if your diet is limited, but high doses aren't necessary. Once your tissues are saturated, extra vitamin C just leaves through your urine. If you want to protect your brain from oxidative stress, make sure color is on your plate at every meal. Bright, colorful produce equals vitamin C, and vitamin C equals a sharper, more resilient brain. Vitamin A and its plant-based relatives, the carotenoids, are essential for vision, immunity, and brain development. In the brain, they help regulate gene expression and support the growth and repair of neurons. Retinoic acid, the active form of vitamin A, is deeply involved in learning and memory because it helps your brain form new connections between nerve cells. Carotenoids like beta-carotene, lutein, and zeaxanthin act as antioxidants that concentrate in the brain and protect it from oxidative stress. Studies show that people with higher blood levels of these pigments tend to perform better on cognitive tests and have slower rates of mental decline with age. The safest way to get vitamin A is through foods rich in carotenoids. Colorful fruits and vegetables like carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkin, apricots, kale, and spinach. Your body converts what it needs into active vitamin A and leaves the rest harmlessly stored. Animal foods like liver and egg yolks contain pre-formed vitamin A, which is more potent, but too much from supplements can become toxic, leading to headaches, nausea, or even liver strain. So when it comes to vitamin A, food wins again. Eat a rainbow of plants, and your brain will have all the carotenoids it needs to stay clear, calm, and youthful. So let's quickly recap. The vitamins with the strongest science for protecting memory and reducing dementia risk are the B family, especially B12, B6, folate, thiamine, and niacin, along with vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin C, and vitamin A, or the carotenoids. Each one supports a different piece of the puzzle: energy metabolism, nerve insulation, antioxidant defense, calcium balance, and communication between brain cells. When they're all in balance, your brain works smoothly. When even one goes missing, things start to slip. Sometimes slowly, sometimes dramatically. The key takeaway is this: food first, supplements second. You can't out-supplement a poor diet. Build your meals around leafy greens, colorful vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, fatty fish, eggs, and berries. These foods naturally provide the same nutrients that keep your neurons young and your memory strong. If you suspect a deficiency, especially with vitamin D or B12, get a simple blood test before guessing. The right numbers matter more than marketing claims. And remember, brain health isn't about a single miracle pill. It's about consistent nourishment, movement, sleep, and stress control over time. To make things easier, we've linked a free guide below with a list of these vitamins, top food sources, and evidence-based supplement tips. You can download it or scan the QR code to keep it handy. Take care of your brain, and it will take care of you for a lifetime.